Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening? And welcome back to another episode. This is the final episode of 2023. Wow, what a year it's been. Like just the fact that we're here. What an awesome and incredible life that we're living. So today, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about what I believe should set up 2024 to be a doozy. And so gifted minds, are leaders born wise or they made? Are leaders born wise or made? This is an interesting question. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you they were born wise. They were born wise. Now, here's the thing. Even though I just told you they were born wise, the thing about that is that you could still be an idiot. you can be as gifted as we want to be and still be an idiot. So, but we all are born wise. We all are born with wisdom. And I love the book by Bob Proctor, Born Rich. You were born rich means that you were born rich in resources, rich in gifts, rich in just the essence of what life is. And so we all have gifted minds and we are all leaders. Now, here's the thing. Are we all going to act on leadership? No, we're all not going to act on leadership, but I would definitely say that we all are born as a leader, but leadership will be made. Leadership will be made. So we're going to look at Solomon today. And then for the rest of January, we're going to look at all of the different types of sayings that Solomon talked about in his book of wisdom. Because Solomon, look, at the end of the day, he was the wisest man who ever lived. It was said that he would be the wisest. And when to go back to the excerpt in the scripture where Solomon's at that moment where he gets to decide like what direction he wants to go in. Like ask yourself today, like what direction do I want to go in? Like if I could get anything, what would I ask for? And Solomon said all the right things. And let's go and look at what the heck did Solomon say that got him to be the wisest man who ever lived? Let's take a look at it in 1 Kings chapter 3. And I'm here at the top. I'm going to go ahead and read all the way down because I think it gives great context. And here's what it says. And Solomon made affinity with Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So Solomon came in, he's setting things up. He got a partnership. He set up a partnership with the Pharaoh of Egypt and took Pharaoh's daughter. So now he's got Pharaoh's daughter. So there's going to be peace in that land, and brought her into the city of David until he had made an end of building his own house and the house of the Lord and the wall of Jerusalem about it. Only the people sacrifice in high places, because there was no house built unto the name of the Lord until those days. And so Solomon was the one who brought the temple back. And Solomon loved the Lord, walking in the statutes of David, his father. Only he sacrificed and burnt incense in high places. And the king went to Gibeon. Now, this is where Solomon did something amazing. He went to Gibeon to sacrifice there. For that was the great high place. So he went up on a high mountain. 1,000 burnt offerings did Solomon offer upon that offering. So Solomon at that point was like, man, I've got to offer more. He offered more offerings because he knew something big was going to happen in his life. So in Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night. And God said, ask what I shall give of thee. Now, I love the fact that the scripture is telling us that Solomon had a dream. The scripture didn't say that the Lord came to him. The scripture didn't give us any kind of wording that would have made us wonder, well, how was he actually talking to God? Did he actually see God? No, he didn't. He actually had a dream. This is interesting. Imagine the dream. We were just talking about this yesterday. Imagine this. You have a dream in you come out of a dream and you say you got wisdom. What? Come on. This is good. Verse 6. And Solomon said, that has showed unto thy servant David. Yes, we're reading from the King James today, so it has that interesting kind of tone. That hath showed unto thy servant David, my father, great mercy. So you showed my father great mercy, according as he walked before thee in the truth and in righteousness and uprightness of heart with thee. And thou hast kept for him this great kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne as it is this day. So Solomon's just giving back. He said, hey man, you did it for dad and you were kind to him. So I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate the gesture here. And now, O Lord, my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David, my father, and I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or come in. Now he's saying, well, look, I'm young. I don't know what I'm doing. So he's saying all the right things. Imagine your kid coming to you, saying all the right things to kind of get you to kind of acquiesce, to give him something. And he says, I'm not going to ask for the things that normally I would ask for. I'm going to ask for something else. In verse 8, it says, and thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen. So now he's saying, look, you gave me some people that they ain't mine. And it's a lot of them that cannot be numbered, nor counted for a multitude. He says, look, you gave me all these people. What am I going to do? Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy so great a people? Dude, he's like, these your people. How you going to give me these people and think I'm going to manage them? You're going to have to give me the understanding to be able to do that, is what Solomon's asking. And the speech pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked this thing. Now, isn't God all-knowing? God is all-knowing. So doesn't God know that Solomon's going to jack this up at some point? But yet, he still gave him what he asked for. So he gives him what he asked for. So when God said unto him, because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked thyself long life, neither has riches for thyself, nor has asked for life to take the life of thy enemies, but has ask for thyself understanding to discern judgment. Behold, I have done according to your words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. The Lord gives Solomon what he asked. Then he says, no one's going to be like you. So it's going to stop with you. Then he says, I'm going to not just give you, right? I'm going to not just give you. Now, in verse 13, he says that he was going to give him riches and honor along with wisdom. So let's think about it. Solomon was gifted enough that he was able to say the right things. That's the first thing. He's gifted enough that he said the right thing. See, we all have enough gifting to say something. One of the levels of value that I learned from Dr. Myron is level 3, communication. He says, when you can communicate, which is all biblical, when you can communication, even though it's next to the highest level, but if all you could do and all I could do was communicate at a high level, I'd be okay. Now, the highest level of value is imagination. So let's think. Solomon went into the highest level of value in order to have this conversation with God. See, because in today's age, somebody would have probably said, you had a dream. Man, you just imagine that. Man, you just thought that up yourself. Come on. Let's get real. Someone could easily say, man, you thought that up yourself and just made up the story. But here's the thing. That's how dreams operate. Dreams come out of your imagination. So we can say, man, I heard God. Look, like at the end of the day, I had a dream. I heard God. That's right. How could I hear, Jay, how could you hear God? Because God is in me anyway. God put himself in me so that I can have somebody to talk to. That's what God did. He says, I'm going to dwell with you, son. Because once he put himself into Adam, he put himself into all of us. But here's the kicker. We all have to activate that. See, if we don't activate that, if we don't activate the connection to actually him, now here's the thing. You can still be gifted. You can still be gifted. You don't have to be spiritual, but you can still be gifted because we're all gifted. Because once you tap into your God likeness, you're already a leader. So we're all born with that. But the leadership comes as a result of experience. That's when leadership comes in. So we can be a leader because we can lead ourselves, but leadership comes as a result of experience. And here it is, Solomon had no experience, but it was something in his upbringing. Come on now, let's think about it. He was raised by a king. So your upbringing can play a huge impact in your giftedness. Your upbringing is going to play a huge impact in your leadership, in your leadership style. Your upbringing is going to play a big part in decisions that you make as you move into this new leadership that you're developing. So your upbringing. Now, here's the thing. There's some bad stuff in the upbringing. Why? Let's think about it. What happened to Solomon? Now, if we just fast forward, what happened in his life? Well, let's look at his dad. His dad had a man killed. So that his dad had to jump off with his boy's wife. Then got in order to get her pregnant. And then he tried to get my man to sleep. He tried to get the husband to sleep with him while they were at war. But he wouldn't. So then he had to bang him. He had to have him killed. So that he didn't have to face him knowing that he messed around with his wife. That's David. Solomon. What did Solomon do? Solomon ran amok. He had so many wives and so many concubines. The man, he didn't know if he was coming or going with all them women. It's hard enough to manage one. Manage hundreds and hundreds of women. I can't remember the number. It's too many. So you think his upbringing, even though he got some great upbringing, he still had some skeletons from that upbringing that could be the demise of his leadership. Are leaders born wise? Well, no, they're not necessarily born wise, but they are born, right? Because wisdom, where does wisdom come from? Wisdom comes from the Father himself. Right. James, I can't remember, I think it was chapter 1 or chapter 2. It talks about how if you need wisdom, you should ask for it. And God would be so happy to give it to you. But you got to ask for wisdom. So today, let's be like Solomon, right? No, we don't have to do all the stuff that he did because he did some dumb stuff. But if we just take a cue from what he did at the beginning, he says, you know what, I'm going to offer as much as I can to God because you know what? I'm going to need some help, managing all these people, being the king, dealing with all these departments and all this stuff that's got to get done. I'm going to need a little extra. Yeah, I got dad. He had dad that he was able to follow and look at and see kind of how dad was operating. But here's the thing. He was like, dang, I'm going to need more. So that's when he went and gave the 1,000 offerings. 1,000 offerings, burnt offerings, and then ask for wisdom. So what do we have to do, right, in 2024 to take our gifted minds, walk in our natural leadership, and use the wisdom that God has already that God has already given us because he's given us wisdom. How do we do that? It's a good question. One of the things that I could come up with as we are looking forward to 2024 is don't focus on what everybody else is doing, right? Don't look at how someone else is killing it or doing great. Look at, wait a second, yeah, they're doing great. And there's a time when we have to go and look at competition. We don't go and look at competition to be them. We go to look at competition to, at the end of the day, we can look at them and say, you know what? They're doing something good. That's something that I can just kind of snatch and use it for myself. So we're not looking at the competition just to measure ourselves or to compare ourselves. We're looking at the competition and say, if they're doing something good, I'm gonna do it now. If they're doing something terrible, I ain't gonna do it. What's the point of me doing that? So we look at the competition so that we can glean it, like in Patrick Bet David's book, what was it? Choose Your Enemies Wisely. He talks about the competition, and he talks about how he used the competition to get to where he wanted to go. See, because he knew he was already gifted, but he found out. He says, "Hey, well, what are they doing? I can use what they're doing against them, and if they're doing something, I can take it for me." So that's one of the things that we can do. What else can we do? We can stop like planning for right now. Planning for right now. We got to start looking further out. You know, the wealthy people, I hear the wealthy people, the ones who have already gotten that far. Now, wealth is not just money, but we're going to add riches, wealth and riches, and we'll use that. The people that are really wealth and riches, they don't just think in 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years. They think in years way after them. They're thinking about the years after them. They're thinking about maybe 100 years, 200 years. See, because if we start thinking in 100 and 200 years, then we would look at stuff like money differently. Come on now, seriously, like, because a lot of times we want to make the money fast, and then we want to make the money, and then we're spending the money, and that's not what they do. They make the money, and then they make more money, and then they make the money, and they keep making money. And then because they're planning for everything. They might have a really good month. People be like, well, that's nothing, because what's coming up, that money's already accounted for. That's a mindset shift. Literally, that is a mindset shift, because imagine you have a good year. You had a good year. Maybe you did $500,000, $1 million, or whatever. How much you got left? Like, that's the thing. How much did we put aside? How much did we plan to put aside? Hey, I'm talking to me, because I'm working into the place. I've made millions and millions of dollars in my lifetime. I can't tell you that I have millions of dollars set aside. So that just means that I had a bad understanding of money. So here's the thing. All right. I'm not here to bash you or me because 2024 is around the corner, literally in hours. What are we going to do in 2024? That's going to take our wisdom, the wisdom that we have, expand the wisdom, and grow our financial health, our physical health, our mental health, our spiritual health, our relational health, like all the health. What are we going to do to expand on that this year? How can we change the actions that we had in 2023 so that in 2024 we don't look back and say, man, I wish I would have, or man, I wish I would have stayed focused long enough to get here. What are we going to do different? So that's for you to decide today. You decide today, like, I'm going to do this different. I already know I've already been planning out different things that I'm going to do. And one of the other things that I know that you have to plan for, I have to plan for, is have to plan for things that happen that would literally make you rethink whether or not you can keep going. And I'll say it like this, and then we're going to let us go. And let's think in priorities. And this is really important. A lot of times, when things come up in our life, we have to make a decision. So you got a dream. I want you to think about that. You have a dream that at the end of the day, our dreams are probably the most important thing because the dream encompasses everything. And then something happens with, say, if you had a girlfriend and the girlfriend is like complaining that, oh my goodness, you're not spending any time with me, right? Are you going to acquiesce? Are you going to acquiesce to the girlfriend, put in some time when you know you kind of should be working on things? That's one. Two, maybe your parent calls up and say, hey, you're different now. You're not spending time with me and da da da. Are you going to stop to go spend time with the parent, or are you going to focus in on what those dreams are? See, these are just some of the things. Or maybe, God forbid, someone gets sick and you've got a big deal going down. Somebody got sick, or even, God forbid, someone passes away, but you got this big deal going down. That is alignment. That's in full alignment with your dream. Now, hopefully, I'm not even going to go there too much, but we have to know what the priorities are, because your dreams, the moment we compromise to dream, that's the moment we lose it. I know this is a hard teaching. It was a hard teaching when I got it. So I'm just relaying the message. So it was a hard teaching because the first time I read upon this in the Bible was I was reading Jesus's life, and the story where the guy comes up to Jesus, hey, I'm going to follow you. I want to go with you. He says, great, let's go. He says, well, let me go back. I got to go home real quick because my father died. I got to go bury him. He says, well, let the dead bury the dead. You come with me and preach the kingdom. That was the decision to go with the dream or to say no to the dream. See, Jesus knew that at the end of the day, if you're going to go for the kingdom, it's going to cost something. So today, as we close out this year, let's know this. If we're going to go for our dreams, if we're going to spread the good news of the kingdom, it's going to cost. There's going to be a price to pay. Choose today, make a decision today that you would be willing to pay whatever price so that, one, you can reach your dreams, and two, you can continue to spread the good news of what the kingdom is, because what people need today is not more church, is not more religion. What they need is a kingdom, a government that literally helps you to create the best life that you could ever have. That's the kingdom life. So hopefully today you got some value from this program. This is the Account for Life podcast. I appreciate you guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, even if you're not watching on YouTube, man, go subscribe to our YouTube channel, man. We would like to make an impact in 2024. Our YouTube channel is growing. I think we're just over 2,000 subs right now. I'd love to get to 100,000 subs in 2024. If you're not subscribed, would you please subscribe to our channel? This is our community service to help people to account for their life. If you can account for your life, you'll be able to account for your business. You'll be able to account for your relationships. You'll be able to do just about everything you want to do, but it's all connected to your life. Guys, I appreciate you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, January 1st, for leadership with wisdom all throughout the month of January. God bless you guys, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.